Welcome to the Purity for Life podcast, episode 122, recorded on Sunday, March 22nd, 2015. 4 qualities of recovery transformation. For more information on this podcast and other great content, visit purityforlife.me. Hey everyone, Frank Honus here. I hope you're having a good weekend. I am kind of winging it this weekend and recording from my kitchen where I am eating Reese's Peanut Butter Puff cereal. And you might hear some munching in the background. That's actually my wife, Tracy. She says hi, by the way. Want to do something a little bit different this weekend on the podcast. This past week, I tried something kind of different with a new app called Meerkat. Did a live streaming, short little mini podcast, mini live stream on the 4 qualities of recovery transformation. Now, maybe you're thinking, what in the world is recovery transformation? It's a big old term. Recovery transformation is the deep change that takes place within the life of a person who is coming out of an addiction, coming out of a sexual addiction, in our case. And I really believe there's some serious qualities to that. I think there's some serious things we look for within a person's life. Certainly, there were things from my life and continue from my life that I wanted to kind of just share some thoughts on. And there's some internal things, some external things, but there's 4 qualities specifically I think we should see in the life of every single person who wants to be different and change and transform their life into a man or woman of sexual integrity. So enjoy this podcast. It is, like I said, a live stream from this past week. So if you hear me mention Meerkat, it is a little app that is kind of sprung up that I tried to use this past week. So hope you'll enjoy it. Episode 122 of the Purity for Life podcast. Have a great week, and we'll see you soon. Bye-bye. So I want to talk just a few minutes about recovery transformation. 4 qualities of recovery transformation. Now that might sound a little different to you, but transformation is something kind of a relative, kind of term. But in recovery, transformation is something very significant that takes place in the life of a person who has a sexual addiction, has a pornography addiction, has some kind of, sexual struggle. And so I want to share with you guys, just for a couple minutes here, 4 qualities of what I call recovery transformation. This is real, genuine, deep, significant change that takes place in a person's life who is trying to come out of the darkness and into the light. And so I really feel like these are principles that have kind of guided me and continue to guide me in my recovery journey. Number 1, recovery transformation is internal. Recovery transformation is internal. It takes place inside. There's a change that takes place inside. And this is really where recovery begins. It begins in the heart. It begins when we realize how much pain we've caused ourselves and how much pain we're causing other people. It starts with brokenness. There needs to be a brokenness that takes place, not where you beat yourself up, not a condemnation kind of thing, but a brokenness of realizing that what you're doing is wrong and what you're doing is harmful to yourself. So real recovery transformation begins inside. It's internal. It starts in the heart. It's deep, deep within, and it comes out from there. So the change really has to take place inside. Number 2, recovery transformation is external. So it's internal, but it's also external. And what I mean by that, I mean, when we walk in the light, when we walk in recovery, change needs to happen on the inside, but the change also needs to translate on the outside in our behavior and the way that we conduct ourselves. And there needs to be a change of our routine. There are particular places and people and outlets that caused us to stumble and caused us to fall into sin and fall into addiction, outlets that pulled us into darkness, we need to cut those things off. We need to change those things. So we need to change our routine. And likewise, when the change begins on the inside, we'll begin to see the change happen on the outside too. And so recovery transformation is internal. Recovery transformation is external. Number 3, recovery transformation is painful. There's a lot of pain that goes along with recovery. And this is a good thing. Believe it or not, when you are I heard somebody say this last week or I read this, that real transformation in your life, that true transformation I want to get this the right way, that there's no such thing as true transformation without pain. There we go. That this implication that in order for change, in order for transformation to be real, that there is a degree of pain that takes place. And I think that's so true. I think that's so true. Those who walk through and go to painful places in their lives, go to the deep places in their lives where they really struggled, where there may be wounds, where there may be really hurtful, hard stuff inside, the places that we as men often want to ignore. That's the place where change and transformation really happens, is inside. And so true transformation, true change is painful, but pain is a good thing. And so that's number 3. And then number 4, the last one, recovery transformation is a process. So, it's a process that occurs over time. This is not drive-through recovery here. This is not drive-through, go into Starbucks, get your drink, come out kind of in 5 minutes thing. This is, recovery takes time. It takes real serious time. And I myself, I'm in the 6th year of my recovery. And I'm thankful for all that God has done in my life, for the work that I've done and I continue to do. But believe me, there's still areas in my life that I need to grow in. And there's still struggles that I have. There's random thoughts that come, and there's just areas that I'm still going and digging up. And transformation is still taking place in my life. So I try to tell the guys I know, the men I talk with, that recovery takes time, and recovery is a process. It's a road, it's a journey, and we can't expect for us to go from sex addict to man of sexual integrity overnight. It takes time, is what I'm saying. It takes time. And like I said, along with that, there's pain that takes place that we've got to go to. We've got to go to the deep places. We've got to figure out why we we're caught up in porn, why we were drawn to porn, why we were drawn to masturbation, why we were drawn to a fantasy, and all those kinds of things. We've got to figure out the why before we really figure out the how. Learning how to stop is great, but learning why we struggled is really more important. And so those are kind of the 4 qualities that I wanted to share with you. That recovery, again, if you're just kind of checking in here, recovery, transformation is internal. Transformation is external. Transformation is painful, and transformation is a process. So those are kind of the 4, qualities of what I call recovery transformation. And I'm going to try to blog on this a little bit, write on this, kind of unpack some of these principles in the next few days, in the next week or so. But I want to read as I'm getting ready to close and wrap up this Miracast. And I appreciate you three individuals who are watching right now through Miracast live streaming. I want to read a passage real quick to you guys before we close, before we kind of wrap up this podcast. And this kind of, I think, illustrates the kind of change and transformation that's taking place in us, and where we are at in our lives, and as we live in these vessels, as we live in these bodies. Let's see if I can find it here. It says in 2 Corinthians 5, this is verse 1 to 10. It says, "For we know that when this earthly tent we live in is taken down, that is, when we die and leave this earthly body, we will have a house in heaven. an eternal body made for us by God himself and not by human hands. We grow weary in our present bodies, and we long to put on our heavenly bodies like new clothing. For we will put on heavenly bodies. We will not be spirits without bodies. While we live in these earthly bodies, we groan and sigh. But it's not that we want to die and get rid of these bodies that clothe us. Rather, we want to put on our new bodies so that these dying bodies will be swallowed up by life. God himself has prepared us for this, and as a guarantee, he has given us his Holy Spirit. So we are always confident, even though we know that as long as we live in these bodies, we are not at home with the Lord. For we live by believing and not by seeing. Yes, we are fully confident, and we would rather be away from these earthly bodies than we will be at home with the Lord. Verse 9, so whether we are here in this body or away from this body, our goal, and this is really what's about transformation and recovery, real recovery transformation, our goal is to please him. It's to please God with our hearts, with our minds, with our bodies. For we must all stand before Christ to be judged. We will each receive whatever we deserve for the good or evil we have done in this earthly body. And so, that is what it's about. We groan and sigh on this earth, and recovery can be hard. Recovery can be difficult. It can be painful. There's a lot of challenge that goes with it, but believe me when I say this to you, it's incredibly, incredibly rewarding. And so it's worth every moment of the journey. It's worth every moment of the process. So I hope that's encouraging to you. Thanks. I appreciate you for kind of watching this little mini podcast, mini Miracast on Purity for Life. This has been episode 122. We'll try to do some more of these in the future. But I thank you guys so much for watching. My name is Frank Konis, and please check me out. purityforlife.me is the website. That's purityforlife.me. All the content, my past podcasts, video and audio, is there on the website. So thanks so much for watching tonight.